who keep on making the argument that we have gotten to where we are now because of Anas Arimayawanas?
I totally disagree with that assertion. After Anas, we have qualified for the World Cup, and we did not attribute that success to Anas. I think there's a saying that he who calls for equity must come with clean hands. In line with fairness, if you are attributing the downward spiral of Ghana football now to Anas, then it means that when you achieve success, you have to attribute it to him as well. I disagree. When we qualified for Qatar 2022, I did not hear any Ghanaian attributing the success to Anas. But thank you, Anas, for intervening, and because of your intervention, we have qualified for the World Cup. So, in the principle of fairness, I think it will be very unfair to Anas for any Ghanaian to attribute the current situation of Ghana football to Anas, because the Ghana Football Association has struck one or two successes and they did not attribute it to Anas. So let's be fair to ourselves. Anas is not the president of the Ghana Football Association now. Anas is not the referees manager at the Ghana Football Association now. Anas is not the management committee chairman of the Black Stars. There are people who have been put in charge, and Ghana football is not going well. But I always say one thing, that the easiest way of going about a situation is to blame everybody around you except yourself.
Okay.
And that is exactly the path that we are traveling as a football community. The Ghana Football Association thinks that everybody else is responsible for their problems except themselves. And so in the past 5 years, we have sacked about 6 coaches when it comes to the Black Stars.
Yeah.
But those decision takers who keep making the wrong decisions are still there. So we should stop mentioning Anas. He's done his bit, it's past and gone. I can mention a lot of associations that have gone through turbulent times, that have undergone investigation, and they've come back stronger.
Okay.
FIFA itself was investigated. Switzerland police ransacked the offices of FIFA. Seblata and Co were prosecuted and jailed. Yet, in the history of FIFA, it was during the COVID time that FIFA doled out the highest amount of money to member associations. FIFA has come out stronger. Spain, they had issues with their FA president some time back. After those issues, they went ahead to win the Nations League. Well, there are a couple of examples in football, a lot of examples in football, where countries have come under investigation for corrupt practices and have come up stronger. Italy, it happened when Juventus was relegated. They bounced back stronger. So what are we talking about? It has got nothing to do with us. Let's be fair to ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much, Dan, on that bit. So, per this analogy that you've just drawn, does it also mean that those who make the argument that if we cannot really, or we cannot entirely blame Anas for what is happening as far as our football is concerned, then the normalization committee, who had the opportunity to transform Ghana football, also did us a great disservice?
Well, let me be very honest with this, your question.
Okay.
I was part of the normalization committee.
Okay.
At some point, I had to resign.
Yeah.
Because in my view, some of the proposals I had, which in my view would have helped Ghana football, were not accepted by the top hierarchy.
Okay.
Sometimes people lump the normalization together and say, oh, Dango Guieboa, you were on the normalization, what did you do? For the record, I was not a member of the normalization committee.
Okay.
FIFA, in consultation with the government of Ghana, appointed a certain number of people as members of the normalization committee, and they appointed me as their spokesperson. So as far as the normalization committee was concerned, I was not a decision taker. I was appointed by the normalization committee to communicate their views. But of course, it was a group that I was part of.
Yeah.
But I thought that, I could also express views that would be taken on board to revitalize Ghana football. But in fact, I was not giving a listening ear. And so at some point, I kept pushing the Honorable Minister Esiama that I wanted to resign. In fact, he kept me there for a while, fighting so many reasons. I actually wanted to resign earlier. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
When I was the PRO of the Normalization Committee, at a meeting where Sami Kufo was there, Dr. Kofi Amwa, all the Normalization Committee members were there. They were joining on the Ghana Premier League, the way forward. And I was given the opportunity to suggest something. And I said that, you know what? Having followed football over the years, in every country that their league has developed, from the media perspective, the official website for promoting the league is different from the official website of the FA. And so we should get a website that has all the statistics of our players, use it for the normalization competition, football competition, and when we exit office, or at the time we'll be exiting office, we should buy a new domain name, GhanaPremierLeague.org or .com, whatever, and hand it over to the Ghana Football Association to use it to run the league, because it was the same players playing in the Premier League that partook in the normalization tournament. This idea was applauded at the meeting, and the leader of the normalization committee tasked me to get a website designer. I went ahead, got a website designer to start working, got all the statistics of the Premier League players, the goals scored, all their bio data on the page. The normalization committee led by Dr. Kofi Amwa did not pay for the website. Eventually, I had to pay for my own pocket, around 20,000 cedis. They did not pay for the website. Neither did they launch the website. When the normalization committee exited, at the time they were exiting, I was not part. I went and gave the address to Alex Asante, alongside other things I had done. The last time I inquired from Henry Asante, he said the website was not part of the handing over notes given to the FA, so it couldn't be officially used.
Wow.
I suggested that this idea where club owners are themselves running the FA to getting of the task was not taken. And this is what has come back to haunt us now. So to some extent, the normalization committee could be partly blamed for what is happening now. Because I keep on saying that for the first time, FIFA gave us the opportunity to use morality as one of the criterion for selecting the next FA president.
Okay.
What was the crime of Kwaku Assefa? His crime was that he had defaulted. The league clubs had met and agreed that whenever a club sells a player, a percentage is paid to the FA. Kwaku Assefa defaulted, and so morally, Dr. Kofi Amwa and his team thought that he wouldn't be the right person to lead the FA because his club was part of the decision taking and he flouted the very rules that he was part of. Between Kwaku Assefa and Ketokreku, whose Dreams FC had involved itself in a criminal activity, renaming a player, changing the player's date of birth, and using the player, and eventually incurring the sanction of FIFA. Between Kwaku Assefa and Ketokreku, whose crime was more serious? I'm asking. Between the two.
Definitely Kets.
Actually. But the normalization committee overlooked what Kets and his Dreams FC did and allowed him to contest and sidelined Kwaku Palmer. So of course the NC had its flaws. But we cannot wholly attribute what is happening in Ghana football now to the normalization committee because I remember on the day of the handing over, on the day of the election, ahead of the election, that brought Ked to power. Some of the clauses in the FA constitution were not pleasant to the clubs. And so they wanted a rectification. But of course, some argue that, you know what, let's get rid of this normalization process. We'll go to Congress and rectify those that would have to rectify. 5 years down the line, you can't still go back and blame normalization committee.
Okay.
Let's be fair. At the time, there were things that I thought that they should have done to right the wrongs in our football. They didn't do it, so you can hold them accountable. But when we were promised by the clubs and the FA officials that when they take over Ghana football, they will have the opportunity to right the wrongs. 5 years down the line, you can't still point accusing fingers back at the NCE and on us. It is very unfair.
Wow, interesting. But then, let me also ask you, but what do you think was the reason why you were not really giving a listening ear? Because you made those references that you had a couple of ideas that you wanted to share with them, but honestly,
it was after the whole normalization process that I got to know why.
Okay.
It was after the whole normalization process. Just a few months ago, I spoke to the Honorable Minister Esiama, and he told me point blank that when Dr. Kofi Amwa was contacted to lead the normalization committee, he submitted Randy Abe's name as his preferred choice of a spokesperson.
Okay.
So after he communicated this to me, then I understood. I got the understanding of everything that was happening at the time.
Okay.
It was just a few months ago that Honorable Isiama said I should quote him that Dr. Kofi Amwa submitted Randy Abe's name as his preferred choice of a spokesperson. So obviously I was not his choice. Wow,
that is very revealing over the interesting. All right, now, so Dan, so going forward, like you said, 5 years down the line, you know, I feel that the normalization committee really had the sledgehammer in their hands to definitely hit and then reform Ghana football. 5 years down the line, still a new FA, things have not been, let me see, turned around. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, where we've gotten to, Dan, what are the solutions? Because people have made that point that probably we need another revolution of Ghana football. Maybe we need another, let me say, another ANAS. We need another, cleansing as far as the Ghana football is concerned. Probably with a new government in place, and then maybe we can do things well. Now, where we've gotten to, is that necessary again?
Revolution we need, but I doubt if we'll have the courage to do anything of a sort.
Okay.
For political expediency, the MPP could not have the courage to tackle the problems of our football head on.
Okay.
And I doubt if the NDC would have the courage, because we have built this country along the lines of NDC, MPP agenda. If there's something going wrong and the perpetrators are MPP, every MPP member doesn't see anything wrong with it, and vice versa. If there's something going wrong and the perpetrators are NDC, every NDC member doesn't see anything wrong with it. And so if MPP ascends the presidential throne and decides to, in quote, discipline the Ghana Football Association, all the members of the NDC, and now some, and now most of the members of the NDC, will align themselves with the FA. Now that NDC is in power, some of us think that the public are fed up and the government will have the right support if they take any action to suspend national team football. But believe you me, if His Excellency President Mahama takes that decision, you get a section of MPP people to align with the FA.
Yeah, sure.
That is the sort of country we have built.
Yeah.
And so it will be very difficult for us to solve our problems. Quite apart from that, the managers of our football do not see anything wrong. It is as if they are living in a different world. So often more than not, we the journalists and the public cry more than the bereaved. Everybody else is seeing that Ghana football is at its lowest ebb, except the Ghana Football Association leadership and their friends. And I always say that the most dangerous situation in a human life, in our lives, is to visit a medical center, and after diagnosis, the doctor tells you that I can't see anything in your system. That's very dangerous. The first point of healing is for the doctor to diagnose you and say that, oh, you are suffering from malaria. Half of the problem is solved. Then we know that, okay, this is malaria drug, let's use it to treat it. Unfortunately, those leading Ghana football have done their diagnosis, and to them there's nothing wrong. All they are looking for is a third term. And so we are really in trouble. And the Ghana Football Association is surrounded by some sycophant and hypocritical club administrators. Not all of them, some.
Yeah.
They'll meet journalists in public, they'll meet you in private, and they'll be complaining, lamenting. Oh, you see, Curtis is not helping us. Even the league we are playing, no sponsor, no TV rights. We can't even telecast the matches on our social media pages. It's not fair. Look at the adjudicative body of the FA. You send your issues there, and it takes years to address them. But ask him to come on radio. He will tell you a different story.
Yeah, true.
And so the problem of our football, I doubt whether we can solve it, because some of the club owners and administrators are very sycophantic and hypocritical.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, some more done. So, oh, my brother, senior. So this issue are done. Okay, so now still looking at the solution now. With the appointment of this new minister Kofi Adams and the way he started his job, clearly he's talking big, he's talking tough. I know he met the GFA a couple of days ago, I think this week. With the way he has started, I know on record he's made the point that they are going to review the contract of Otuado. He even said that he was not contacted prior to, at that time he was not sworn in though, but he even made a point that he was not contacted prior to the appointment of this new technical advisor, technical director, Wilfred Schaefer, who we are hearing is going to take around $65,000 plus Otuado's $50,000, which means we are going to pay over $100,000 for, a technical advisor and then a coach without any results. We have not even talked about the other staff or the other members of the technical team also. So he said he was not contacted and all of that. They reviewed the contract, and he's also made the point that President Mahama's directives that no government official to travel by first class also includes the GFA. Do you think that with the way he started on the right note, and he's, let me say, the man to walk into that GFA and transform the canker over there in the Ghana football?
Well, I've always argued that I was looking forward to seeing Honorable Neil Ante van der Poel at the Ghana football.
Sure.
For me, politics aside, he's been my best all-time sports minister.
Okay.
This is a man, let me tell you a story.
Okay.
After the analysis expose, I had an interview with Honorable Neil Ante van der Poel.
Okay.
And you know what he told me? He said, it was very unfortunate that President Mahama lost the 2016 election.
Okay.
Because for him, Anas or no Anas, he was going to prosecute officials of the GFA at the time.
Wow.
And I said, how? He said they came to him to request money to bribe referees, and he recorded them and sent the audio to Yoko.
Wow.
They want to play a friendly match outside Ghana, and under-declared the proceeds that the Black Stars received and sent him a contract different from the original contract that the agent who organized the match gave them.
Wow.
And so he sent he sent for the original. He used the embassy in that country, Ghana's embassy in that country, to get the original document and sent it to Yoko. And instructed Yoko that when the election was held in December 2016, between December 20 the election was held on the 7th of December.
Yeah,
7th December 2016 and 9th December 2016. If the results were showing that Mahama was leading or was winning, Yoko should pick up the FA officials.
Wow.
And so he said he was really, really pained when President Mahama lost the 2016 elections. He would have prosecuted the FA officials long before Anas's expose.
Okay.
And these are people with tough skins, people who know their art, people who understand the dynamics of our football and our sports, who, in my estimation, but for politics, if I were Nanado, I would have maintained him there. But for politics, he should have been at the ministry for a long time. So this time around, I was expecting him at the ministry. Unfortunately, I was swept. But of course, who am I? Who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I to contest? The prerogative, the power, the authority, everything to appoint rest in His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. In his wisdom.
But now, why do you think he was not really appointed? Because it came as a shock. Not only you, I mean, it came as a shock to me and many Ghanaians as well. What do you think was the decision? Because people have made that point that he seems to be somebody who is too confrontational, and is going to really create a lot of issues, and probably that would have been the reason why.
That argument is from the perpetrators of the crime.
Okay.
Obviously, there is no way the weed smoker or the armed robber will support an IGP who is smart. You get it? So that argument of he being confrontational is always coming from those who think they are part of the crime. Because you need a tough leader. Africa, we are stubborn, brother.
Yeah.
Africa, we are stubborn, and that is how come you check all the countries that have developed in Africa, they have a leader who is very tough.
Yeah.
That's our nature. And for me, I believe that such a person, if you give him time, he can put our sports in order. Unfortunately, that power does not rest in you and I. And so we need to support Honorable Kofi Adams to perform as a Ghanaian. And that's my position.
So I'm listening.
He's talking tough, like you said.
Yeah.
And some of the ideas he's espousing for me are brilliant.
Okay.
For example, I've openly come to support him, calling for the betting tax to be redirected into sports instead of cancelling the betting tax.
Okay.
It is something that the youth of Ghana disagree, but we can put politics aside. There is no way in the world that you stake a bet and you are not taxed. No way. And for me, betting is sports related. So if we are putting proceeds from betting into good use in sports, for me it's a good thing. It is something that I am backing him, and I expect that His Excellency President Mahama will help him to realize that vision. Because no matter your lofty ideas and your good ideas, if you don't have the support of the president, forget it. The Honorable Nilante Van der Poel that we are talking about, at some point, he fought and reduced the Black Stars winning bonuses from 10,000 to 5,000.
Yeah.
And this was after the Ghana Football Association, according to Honorable Nilante Van der Poel, officials had come to him to request for bribe for referees. And he said, if I'm paying a winning bonus of $10,000 and you're looking for money for referees, then what is the essence? It means that it is not the players who are giving us the results. So why don't you Why don't I reduce the bonuses then? He forced and reduced the bonus from 10,000 to 5,000. The next Black Stars game was in Kumasi. And we are living in a country where we practice politics of patronage. Some officials of the FA went to see a top official who bypassed the minister and spoke to the then President Mahama. President Mahama directed Honorable Setekpa to increase the money back to $10,000 without recourse to the minister. So what I'm saying is that no matter the brilliant ideas that the Honorable Minister has, if he doesn't get the support of his party and the government, he can't do anything. And I pray that you get the needed support, because there are a lot of things that ought to be done. I heard him talk about government investing in our league. It is something that I've been advocating. But of course, I spoke to him personally and told him that, Mr. Minister, the idea to invest in the league is a brilliant one. But be careful not to give the money to the FA to share to the clubs. We'll come back to square one. It wouldn't have any impact. After all, during COVID, Nanado was paying money to the clubs. What results did we get?
Okay.
If government wants to invest in our league, and this proposal, I've been talking about it for years, we should get a fund. If we're able to set up a fund with this betting tax, blah, 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 we should get a fund. Put in money. Let's say government is investing $20 million in the league in the next 5 years. So every year, government is spending $4 million on the league. Sit the IGP down. Give him the categorization as done by the FA with respect to the fixtures of the league. Tell the IGP that, okay, we have 30-something matches. Each category requires X number of policemen. Each policeman is entitled to 10 cedi per game. The total is $100,000. IGP take the money, take charge of security during matches. If anything happens or if anything goes wrong with respect to security, we will hold you accountable. Talk about player welfare. 3 days ago, I was having a discussion on Peace FM. Now, there was a guy by name Kumsin. He was the deputy captain for Dreams FC.
Okay.
As a goalkeeper. He was receiving 700 Ghana cedis a month. As I speak to you, he's left Ghana for Togo. He's playing for a club in Togo, and according to him, what he gets in CFA funds is 5,000 cedi equivalent. So, if a player playing for the FA president, a deputy captain, is receiving 700 cedis, how about those playing for my Swede Royal Blacks and other clubs? And just crossing border from Ghana to Togo, his fortunes have been enhanced. He's taking 5,000 a month cedis. So, apart from security, pitch maintenance, a percentage of the money is going into pitch maintenance, with proper implementation of the club licensing system. No friends and cronies inspection. Oh, this one is our friend, so even though his pitch is not good, let him play there. No. Then the chunk of the money goes into player salaries. That money shouldn't go to the clubs nor the FA. The government and the ministry should sit down with the clubs. The clubs should give the list of their players. Let's say, okay, we are restricting the clubs. Each club is supposed to register 20 players. Because sometimes I wonder why a Ghanaian club will register 30 players. For what? With all the competition we play in Spain, we play sometimes with 20 players for the season. What sort of competitions do we have in Ghana? And then the club will register 30 players, 35 players, and they will pay them 500, 300 Ghana cedis. What sort of league are we running? So we set a minimum wage and say that, okay, irrespective of how much the clubs are paying their players, government is going to subvent, well, let's say $500 per player. That money will move straight from controller and accountant general into the account of the player. Then we draft an addendum contract that once you agree to take that $500 per month from government, if you have not played the Premier League for 4 years, you are not traveling. For 5 years, you are not traveling. And so we know that if a player starts coming up and the supporters start following the player, they are very much sure that the first season they will have the opportunity to enjoy the player. Second season they will have the same opportunity. Third season, and once we get players who draw crowd to the stadia, with time the corporate world will be interested in sponsoring our league. So gradually, government can wean itself of putting money. Government can win itself from the league, or they can win itself from putting money in the league, and then corporate world takes over. Believe you me, when we have this policy in place, you can get a solid Black Stars with about 15 players from the local league, because you know that in the next 4 years nobody is traveling. So the players can play their leagues on weekends. Monday to Friday they are in camp. Can select the best 11 players locally, get them camped, give them exposure, and by the next 2 years every foreign-based player will come and compete for position. We didn't have this situation where once you are invited you have an automatic entry. For me, this is one of the best ways to go about solving our problem. If we push for government investment, and we give the money to the club chairman, we use it to build houses and marry and do other things, leaving the players in the poor situation we find them now. And so this has always been my suggestion. Okay. So if the government is willing to invest, we should sit down and properly plan.
But clearly, Dan, I appreciate all of those brilliant points you made about the government. But clearly, Dan, the FA also receives a lot of money from the FIFA Goal Project, FIFA Fund, which indeed, if they want to also invest into the Ghana Premier League, they can invest money into the Ghana Premier League and ensure that it is top notch.
Yes, I think you've answered the question. He said if they want to, where there's a way, there's a way. Why would the Ghana Football Association leave security at our stadia to home teams? They want to avoid responsibility. They want to skip that cost. Yeah. Because the clubs have vested interest in the results. And for me, it amounts to a conflict of interest to tell me that, okay, Dangokuya FC is playing Empire FC, and I'm playing at home. My match is category B. I know very well that it requires 100 policemen, but I want to intimidate the referee. So if you ask same Dangokuya to go and bring 100 referees, I won't do it. I'll bring 10 so that I can intimidate the referee and win and get my 3 points. And the FA knows this, but deliberately they've left it in the hands of the home teams just to skip that expenses. So they are simply not willing. The current system, let me be frank with you. The current system favors the FAU, those running football, catch and defense. It favors them all. Because then, let's how do I put it? Let's suppress the system and give opportunities, the few opportunities available to our footballers, because we are club owners. Let's put our players into the national team, sell them and pocket the proceeds. So you and I see football with a different spectacle. Yeah. We also see it from a different perspective. So to them, the system is okay. It favors their pocket. You check national team invitations in recent times. Unlike the days when Coach Afani and Co would tour Ghana and scout quality players. Yeah. This time it is, oh, my brother, bring 2 players from your team. Randy, bring 2. Baseke, bring 2. Bring 2. That's all they are doing. So whenever there's a national team call-up, especially from the under 17, 20, and what have you, you check. Yeah. True. It is as if we are doing constituency representation. Oh, bring 3, bring 2. That's how national team composition is done nowadays. So the system favors them. It is you and I that are crying that Ghana football is not going well, but for them it's going well because it is helping them in so many ways.
Done. So clearly they know what has to be done, but of course they are not doing it.
Why not?
So in this instance,
is an astute journalist.
Yeah.
He's been in football for so many years. He has degrees in sports. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
It is not as if they are blockheaded. No. They know what they are doing.
So that doesn't mean that now, with the entrenched position that Kotoko and Heart of Folk have taken together, that joint, position they've taken, that until the FA does what is right, they are no more playing football? Is that the way to go now? Are we hoping that this will be a turning point?
I think it's long overdue. Kotoko and Haas should have taken this position long ago. Long ago. You can't go to Spain and take Barcelona and Real Madrid for granted.
Yeah. That
at the top level of our football, we have smaller teams like Vision FC being represented without Kotoko and Haas folk. No. They should have done this long ago. I kept telling somebody that it looks like the old football administrators were smarter. During the days of the late BK Duse, who was a Kotoko chairman, the Setimba merchant, H.P. was for Hato folk. Ask us Kofi and Co. Beyond the pitch, they were always planning how to use the team from the business perspective to make money to run the team. But Kotoko and Haas of our time, they take their rivalry from the pitch even into business, forgetting that they have a common business interest and they have to unite for a purpose. So it is long overdue. In fact, everything Kotoko is requesting, Kotoko and Haas are requesting now. They are all in Ketokeku's manifesto, and he has failed to implement them. I don't know whether you have a copy. Let me help you.
Okay.
Let me make a quick reference.
His manifesto is 13-point manifesto.
They are all in Ketokeku's manifesto.
Yeah.
Ketokeku's manifesto, pillars of my offering, Premier League competition. He itemized 15 points. Valid points.
Yeah.
That contains very useful information to help improve Ghana football. And number one on Ketokeku's agenda, as part of his manifesto that brought him to power 5 years ago, is, and I read, autonomy to ensure full attention for the management of the Premier League. Where is it? Check point number 5. Create family-friendly stadia. No hooliganism. Where is it? Point number 7. Engage the police administration for the creation of a special policing unit. Where is it? Point number 8. Introduction of the steward system in Ghana. Where is it? Point number 11. Because of time, I wouldn't go through all. Point number 11. Timely, free and fair judicial adjudicative mechanism. Where is it? Take your issue to the Disciplinary Committee and it will take you forever. Point number
102.7.
Good coverage, well planned, live, delayed matches and highlights. Where is it? Point number 14. Ensure full compliance of the club licensing system. Look at the pitch on which Poli was killed at Quatre.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have a club licensing board that goes around ahead of the season to inspect pitches. So everything Kotoko and Haas are requesting for today have been sitting in Ketokeku's manifesto for the past 5 years.
Okay.
Just that they've not been men enough to push him to implement it. That's it.
Wow. Interesting. And so before I take leave of you, let's touch on this particular issue, which is also critical, and it has to do with the coaching of our national team. Clearly, it looks as if that the FA, Ketokreku, and the GFA are clearly doing whatever it takes to, shield Otuado. So they've done their possible best to bring in a technical advisor, whom, like we said, earning about $65,000 plus Coach Otuado, who's earning $50,000, and we are spending over $100,000 on a coach alone, whom probably I've checked around. Avram Grant is taking $25,000 for Zambia. Hugo Bruce, top-notch coach, is taking $50,000 for South Africa. Look at the job they are doing. So clearly, we could have appointed one person to do the job that this man has come in to do. I mean, going forward,
brother,
the minister also has a job on the side. I was doing an
analogy. I was doing an analogy in Chi for somebody, and he was laughing. I was saying that what the GFA is doing is like
Empire 102.7.
He has no nimasa. Yes, you on Kosa. To see Juma Penua for Chalimucha Munchanya Menimbuas. That's all the GFA is doing for Tuado. they know that he's not up to task. He's not up to the task they have assigned him. So let's surround him with so many people and see if it will work out. First of all, what the FA has done is a departure from the norm. What I've known over the years is that our technical team is beefed up ahead of tournament. After we have qualified, and there are so many precedents.
Yeah.
There are so many precedents.
Yeah.
When we qualify for AFCON, we hire expertise in physiotherapy, in other areas to assist the team.
Yeah.
When we qualify for the World Cup, we do so. There are precedents. Anybody can go and check. But you don't hire people eminently and pay them with state resources. It's a departure from the norm of the FA. I've never seen this from Ben Kofi's time. And only God knows what informed this decision. It is just to protect Otuado. I've always said that. We all respect Otuado, having risen through football to this level. But the truth is that he is not living up to expectation. He is not. How can a coach play 6 matches and fail to win a single game with minnows like Niger and what have you? And you still want to maintain him and surround him with so many people? I was arguing that when you opened up the FA job, the Black Stars coaching job, and asked people to apply. When Freshafa applied and granted interview to Happy FM, that he was hoping to get a job.
Okay.
The Ghana Football Association did not even shortlist Freshafa, let alone interview him. So my point is that if Freshafa did not qualify as Black Stars coach a few years ago, what makes him qualified to advise the Black Stars coach now? Or at the time he was qualified, but the FA felt comfortable doing business with Otuado. So to hell with your CV, Freshafa. What are we doing to ourselves as a country? Would the Ghana Football Association have run football the way they are running it if it belonged to any of them? If the Black Stars were Ketokeku, Randiabe, whatever, whoever is involved property, would they have run it the way they are running it? No. Let's be sincere. And for me, if the minister will be bold enough to collapse what they have done, I'll be very happy.
Yeah.
Because the same FA told Ghanaians after the disappointing performance of the Black Stars as regards the AFCON qualification that we were going to consult the government and take a decision on Otuado. Before the NDC government could vet and approve its minister, you had already done what you were supposed to do. So who did you consult? And why did you deceive Ghanaians that you were going to consult government before taking a decision on Otuado?
Yeah.
I expect the minister to collapse whatever they've put up.
Okay.
Because it is disrespect to the ministry. You can't ask me to expend my money on something that I do not have a say in.
Exactly. Dan, let's leave it here.
Brother.
Senior, thank you so much for your time here on Empire 102.7 FM.
And I'm sure this passionate and patriotic discussion we've had, you get a response from those who have been contracted to insult us, because everybody who disagrees with them is an enemy.
Yeah. Dan, I'm grateful, and we'll talk at the back of the show.
My brother.
All right.
Have a good one.
Thank you very much. So that was Dan.